Hello, welcome back. How are you doing today? I'm alright. We have so much to talk about, but I feel like it won't be so bad. Welcome to my October wrap up. In October, I somehow managed to read 34 books in 31 days, and I'm very proud of myself for that. I'm very impressed with myself. Whoa, go me! So we have a lot to talk about, but at the same time, because I did Booktober, I had a lot of reading vlogs, and so I feel like the books that I read in those vlogs are going to be real quick snip snap, let's talk and like move on situation. So we'll go more in depth about like the 15-ish books that I had read outside of my Booktober Trick or Treat series. So the first thing that I checked off completing for the month was Nevermore, recommended to me by Aaliyah at the Library Dweller, and it's a fun middle grade fantasy series. It's a very good replacement for the TERF's fantasy magical wizarding world. I did have a good time with this. I really enjoyed the ending especially, and it's made me want to continue with the series, but the first half, like, it is a fun time. I do recommend it. I think a lot of people would like it. I'm not the age group, and I think that I felt it. I felt that I was not the right age. Where do I put these? Oh no. The next chunky little book I read and finished was Plain Bad Heroines. This is by Emily M. Danforth. Their only book, which is rude. I gave this 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. It is a dark academia, kind of dark academia adjacent Hollywood film horror set at an old decrepit abandoned boarding school, but you get a lot of the current timeline where we're following 3 young women, and then we're also getting the past timeline, all sapphic relationships, all queer women. I really like the vibes. It's got that like descriptive, dark, slow, gritty atmosphere that I really, really, really enjoyed. I really am tempted to get a B tattoo. Okay, so that's how I felt about that one. The first book that I can actually properly talk to you about is A Land So Wide by Erin A. Craig. If you want a like full plot in-depth like talk about it type of video, Meredith did one on her channel, and it was such a treat for me to watch, because if you are new to the channel, hello, hey, Sam, nice to meet you. I am the Erin A. Craig girly on BookTube. I don't know if anybody else talks about her the way that I do. I have a whole, oh, you can't see, a whole shelf simply dedicated to nothing but her books. I'm so breathe. I'm so excited to add her first adult onto that little shelf over there. But I did realistically have to give this 4 stars. So in this, we are following Greer. Hell yeah. I'm so good at this. So in this, we are following Greer Mackenzie, who lives in a small village, kind of similar to a setup of Small Favors in some way. They have these warding stones that are surrounding their village, and basically, if they try to leave at nightfall, then they basically get like zapped back into the perimeter, but they could also be deadly because you don't know what you're gonna slingshot into. So there's like a hard rule of like you have to be back. And another tradition of this village is that they participate in this thing called the hunt, where the women go and hide in different locations and men go to find them, and then that pairs them for marriage. Greer is planning to marry her bestie friend, Ellis? I'm pretty sure it's Ellis, but I'm not finding it immediately in the synopsis, so we're going with Ellis. He is supposed to come find Greer. He knows the spot. They are, like, you know, secretly in love, but dating. Like, they've kissed. They've childhood friends to lovers situation. And he's supposed to find her. But during the hunt, something goes horribly wrong, and Ellis is outside the borders, and Greer goes to find him. I really don't want to say too much. I think the synopsis on the flap honestly gives too much away. There's also this mythical being that the benevolent keeps away, the bright eyes, which are these winged monster creature things that, you know, try to eat the people, it seems. And so I really liked the bright eyes. I liked the description. I really liked the slow lead up. The reason I don't want to say too much more is because the incident of Ellis leaving happens further back in the book than you would initially expect for the flap. It sounds like something that would happen in the first 50 pages, and it's not. And so I just want your expectations to be set up going into this, and I think more people will enjoy it that way. But also, if you like an atmospheric story, if you like something that is a little bit more slow and mysterious, the first half of this book was 5 stars. Impeccable. The reason I lowered it to a 4 is because of the second half, where there's a bit more adventure and action that just didn't feel like the same book. It felt like 2 distinct stories. And for that reason, I was like, this didn't quite hit. So this is my first Erin A. Craig that I did not give a 5 star. which honestly feels like a crime. Like, take me away, shackle me, I'm so sorry. But I'm excited to see Aaron explore further into an adult territory, but I'm also really excited for some of my series to come back, so I can't get too excited about the adult. I do think that this was good. I just don't think that it hit all of the marks that I needed it to be a new favorite. But I am still happy that I read it. I'm still happy that Erin A. Craig is writing books that she likes and she's exploring new things, and that's, you know, to each their own. Cool things. Great for her, girl. The next thing, I listened to Night's Edge by Liz Curran, and this was recommended to me by Rainey. This is a slow literary horror. Very, very, very character focused. So if you don't like a character driven story like me, it might not work for you, because the first 75% is a whole lot of family drama and trying to have a coming of age in some sort, because she's, you know, exploring her sexuality and trying to detach from her mother in this codependent toxic relationship that they have. Basically, our main character watched her mom get turned into a vampire, is now responsible for the blood that she drinks and like making sure that she doesn't go just crazy on the town. She had to grow up really fast because of it, and it's a really unfortunate circumstance, but at the same time she meets this musician and she's like, we're gonna fall in love, and then the ending happens and you're like, this is a totally different book. Like, there is a pandemic outspread of vampirism, and there's a lot of like censorship and control and surveillance going on that gets like a little uncomfortable and weird, but it's not really the focus of the book, and I think I would have preferred that more. But then we also have like the ending, which is the catalyst for the sequel, which I honestly think I'm interested in the sequel just because it sounds like it might be a little bit more action-packed based off how the end went. The end was quite explosive and just something you were not going to expect from a story like this. So I did appreciate the ending. I gave it like a 3.5. Like, it was just middle of the road. I think people who like a character-driven story, who really want to dive deeper into the complexities of like a mother-daughter relationship, I think this could work for a lot of people. I just don't know if it's going to find the like greater mass of an audience. The next thing that I listened to for my banned books week reading vlog was The Poet X by Elizabeth Asiato, and this is a short novel told in verse, so it's all poetry, and we are following a young girl who has a twin brother, not super relevant, but basically she is coming of age story, but she finds that poetry is kind of helping her in life and is helping ground her and gives her something to care about while the turmoil of being a teenager in America is, you know, difficult at times. I did really enjoy this. I really appreciated that the author narrates the audiobook, and so I was able to get the right cadence and like hear everything correctly. It's a good experience, but it's not necessarily something that I would ever revisit. I'm like happy that I finally have read it and I understand like the touch point of it and can talk about it with other people, but it's not like my favorite thing ever. And then after that, I read my Trick or Treat from Leandra, which was But Not Too Bold, which is a monster romance, a spider monster romance. Basically, we're following a very loose mystery of the Madame's memories go missing and she blames the Keeper of the Keys, but then she kills the Keeper of the Keys, and the new Keeper of the Keys is the woman that we are following. And she basically falls in love with this spider. And it's not like a lot to it. It's a novella. It's very short. There's not a whole lot going on. I don't really want to spoil anything. But there's a touch of mystery, if you will. And I did like it overall. There's a lot of food description, a lot of spiders, but not in a way that made my like fear of spiders too bad. So I did have a good time with it. I gave it 4 stars. It was like interesting and enjoyable enough, but it wasn't like wowed my socks, you know? The next 2 things I read were also in my banned books video, which was Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. And not for me. I loved Where the Sidewalk Ends as a kid, and I don't anymore. They just didn't work for me. The poems just weren't. There was like 3 or 4 maybe that I was like, oh, those ones hit, and the rest I was like, no, not me, not for me anymore. But then I also read Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. Probably my biggest recommendation for anybody. It's so painful, so sad, so heartbreaking, but also very important. And definitely check trigger warnings. Make sure that you're in a good headspace for reading it and listening to it. But I really, really liked it. It surprised me, but also like, you know what's coming, so you have like this pit of dread the entire time. And it's just, it's heartbreaking. Basically, we are following a young girl in, I think, middle school, and her best friend Monday has gone missing, and she's like, why is nobody else concerned about this, and it's her like primary focus. Like, she gets bullied in school and is bad at doing homework. She has dyslexia, and Monday was her best friend. Monday helped her with homework. Monday was making sure that she was getting stuff done. Like, she was the bestest of friend, and she's gone. And basically we were just exploring like the mystery of it and what's happening, and, you know, growing up, coming of age, but also like this just absolutely heart-shattering experience. The next book I listened to was a Nell recommendation, which was Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison, and I really like Rachel Harrison. She just happens to be the author for me. I like her, you know, pink horror, if you will. Definitely more for the girl. This one has like that same emotional story to it. It's not like scary horror, it's just like the traumas of it all. But also you have like this very beautiful sister dynamic and relationship, and romance. A romance that I did rather enjoy, if you will. And it felt very similar to the next book that I want to talk about, Well Met, by Jen DeLuca. They both have very similar premises of a sister is going to help their sister during some type of change in their life, whether it be a car accident that broke their leg or being pregnant. And they go to these small towns or return to their hometowns and feel a little bit fish out of water. Like, they were, you know, hustle and grind women, CEOs, like doing the thing, getting their bag, and now they are in a small town and they're slowing down and they're really trying to figure out what they want in life, if they want to slow down or if they want commitment. And I really enjoyed that exploration in both of these books. Well Met is a Ren Fair romance, and I did really like the Ren Fair part. I thought that was a lot of fun. It's not enemies to lovers. Don't let the promotion fool you. It's not that. It is more so, I don't even know if rivals is correct. Basically, we're following her perspective only. We only get one perspective in this book, but basically she's kind of got the hots for this guy who plays the pirate, who's also running the Ren Fair and like really is taking on that responsibility and burden of it. But at the same time, he, taking on all this responsibility and burden, does not like change, does not want things to change, doesn't want new input on it. And she's like, what if we change stuff? And so there's a lot of headbutting there where he's like, I don't know why you're disrespecting me, but also she's new and she doesn't know any better and she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know the history. So there's just a lot of misunderstanding to begin the relationship. But then they work through it and they have like this really cute Ren Fair romance where like their characters are getting married and like courting each other, but like in real life they're like, ugh, don't talk to me. So I really enjoyed their dynamic. I thought it was very cute and very fun, and I do plan to continue with the series probably in the summer. The next book that I read was Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I'm so excited to not only continue with the series before the year ends, but also just read more of Marissa Meyer in general. I really had such a fun time. This came out in 2011. That's crazy. So this came out in 2011, which if I had read it then, I would have been 12, and this probably would have been the best thing in the entire world. Like, I would have been like, this is cinema, this is perfection, you know? And I don't think that's inaccurate. I just have read too many things like this because it's 2025. Like, it's just unfortunate, like, the timing of it. But even though I could predict a lot and it felt similar to other things, it still stands on its own. It is still just really well crafted. It's just a good version of a Cinderella retelling. There is this bigger arching plot. There's such a nice sci-fi twist that I really enjoyed that felt different from other things. And I love these characters. I'm so giddy about this. I initially was like, yeah, I really liked it, but I think it's a 4-star. But over time, it's just continuously risen in ratings. Like, I've just thought back so fondly on this, and I just keep thinking about it, and I keep thinking about how I want to continue and how much fun I had, and it's really done it for me, and I'm really happy to have read it. Thank you so much, Chloe, for forcing this upon me. I cannot wait to continue in the series. Water break, everybody. Drink your water. I read a Richie pick. I actually read a few things that Richie had recommended. The first one being Enjoy Me Among Your Ruins. This is a non-fiction memoir novella. It's very short, but I don't know how to pitch it is the problem. It's very hard to pitch somebody else's life. But basically, we are following an academic sex worker. I don't know if she still is or if she just was at some point, mother, and she's basically writing stories to different people in her life that had influence over her, but also telling us like snippets of her life, also giving us letters to a friend way back in the day. And it's dark, but I did like this for what it was. I do kind of wish there was a little bit more explanation, more in depth. Maybe I just was not quite in the right mindset to like really get it all. I would recommend it if you enjoy memoirs. It talks a lot about sex work, which I really appreciated, just like the open and honest, candid topic of it. But again, like, do check trigger warnings because there are some description of things and it is a little bit hard to read at times. But also this was a more edited version. The original version, I guess, had like way more detail, and she was like, that was getting a little bit too personal and opened up, so she kind of pulled back a little bit. And so I wonder if I had read that initial version, I would have had a little bit more of the things that I was wanting. I never got anything super out of this, but I did like it. And it's good. It's really good. It's well written. It's good. I just don't know how to talk about it. The next thing that I read was The Second Death of Locke. This is Nightcore to its heart. We are following a knight and his mage, and she happens to be Gray Flynn, and she is the mage to Kier. Kier is the like warrior knight, and basically the role of the mage is to like put her life on the line for him, make sure that he's healed and saved and whatever. Oh god. And so fights are happening, wars are happening, whatever. She protects him. They're best friends. They're childhood friends. He knows her deepest, darkest secret. Is that in the flap? I'm not sure. They go on a quest to protect a kid. That happens kind of early on. Okay, For Grey is no ordinary magical well, but heir to the lost island of Locke, the root of all power. If she dies, magic dies with her. So, yes, that is like the big thing. I don't know if maybe you didn't want to know that, but like so much more happens beyond that point that it just doesn't feel like a full synopsis. That feels like the first half of the book, maybe. But unfortunately, this audiobook only experience did not work for me. This is the Illumicrate special edition that I got after I had finished the book, and you know, I did not get the same feelings that other people have. A lot of people are saying like the yearning in this is so strong. I really struggled with understanding why they liked each other, why they were in love with each other, besides them being like childhood best friends and knowing each other really well. Like, I just kind of missed some of that deeper level between them because it was already an established relationship. Normally, I don't have that issue. I normally really like friends to lovers, but I think in this way, I was like, obviously you both like each other. I don't know why we're acting like we don't. And it just kind of got a little bit repetitive and annoying for me. I sound like I'm saying stuff that I didn't like about it. I did like it at the same time. Like, I was a 3-star, like middle of the road, fine book for me. I don't think it was bad by any means, but it wasn't my favorite thing ever. I don't plan to continue in the series until it's completed. I think when book 3 comes out, I will reread this book and then I'll read the second and third all together, and I'll physically read along so I can really like maybe pick up more of the tension. It just was lacking for me when I was listening to the audiobook, and she's kind of long, so maybe Booktober just was the wrong time and I'll maybe love this in the future. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Verdict is still out on that one. Next book, brought to you by Joanna, we have Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. This is an Owl Crate special edition. I love that my friends not only were like, read stuff off your shelf, but also read some of your special editions. What the hell? I did not like this, though. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry, Joe, but I didn't like it. Too many characters, a lot going on. I didn't like the magic. The game probably could have been more interesting if it like made more sense, and it doesn't. I didn't like it. Okay, watch the video if you're curious. Even then, I don't know if I explain it super well, so maybe read a Reddit. The next thing I read, which I also did not grab, was Bunny. I listened to Bunny. I did a reread of it with Chloe, who read it for the first time on sprints, and then she like continued it for a vlog. It's good. What can I say? I really like Bunny. I have not picked up We Love You Bunny yet. I was going to, and then I got scared because the reviews were like making me nervous, and so I think I'm gonna wait until the hype dies down a bit more before I pick it up, just because I don't want so many influences. So yeah, but yes, Bunny, still love it. Nothing changed. Good book. The next 2 books were Richie picks, which were all in my Richie reading vlog. So I read Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. Russian names are really hard for me. I don't know what it is. Every time I try to say Dostoevsky, really struggle with it. So not great at Russian, but I read Lolita and I read Ella Enchanted. Both solid books. Like, you can't go wrong. They are just like objectively classics. Like, they just are. Ella Enchanted, I love the movie, so I had a hard time not like wanting the movie, if that makes sense, but this on its own was good. It definitely has some of those like, ooh, yeah, it was written in the 70s feelings, but I like that we get these letters. I like that Ella felt like a different character and we see a lot more of her life and like years of her life. It was good. I could see where the movie was pulling from different things. I overall would recommend to kids still. I don't think it was like that abhorrently bad, but yeah, it was like a good time, but not my favorite thing ever. Lolita, on the other hand, is a difficult experience. It's a good book. Objectively, it's a good book. It's had an everlasting effect on everybody everywhere. Like, good book. People should read it. I don't think that it's glorifying anything. I think that a lot of people are interpreting and reading it incorrectly, which is like annoying. But unfortunately, as much as like I'm happy to have finally read it and like finally understand everything, I really enjoyed finding other media that analyzed and talked about it rather than just like getting the source material. Because obviously, October is a weird, hard time to really analyze a classic when you're like doing Booktober. So I was really excited to like go watch other videos where other people are talking about like the Lolita effect and whatnot, and that side of it was a little bit more enjoyable for me than the actual book itself. But the book is good. It is, you know, again, like hard to read. It's sad, but like it's good. Yeah, okay. So the next thing I listened to was Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is the sequel to Bride. Probably the conclusion for the series, but it does seem like Ali Hazelwood wants to keep writing paranormal romance. We just got Hot for Slayer on Amazon Originals, so like I think we are doing pretty good. This is following Serena and Cohen, and I did not like this the first half or so. Like, I thought it was fine. I really was like, yeah, it's cute. I do like, though, hurt comfort or like sick comfort. That really works for me in a book, so that's like a microtrope I really enjoy. But overall, I was like, okay, Serena's sick. Serena, who is supposed to be a werewolf, is having like a hard time shifting and like things aren't quite right. But I don't want to like say what it is, but like what it became. Kind of ridiculous, kind of really funny though at the same time. Okay, sure. But then like we get more plot as it goes on finally, like after the 50%, like there's way more plot. And that I did enjoy as well. Like once we got somewhere, like I do want my fantasy, romantasy books to have a little bit more oomph to them, not just, you know, almost kissing a lot. But I did buy into like the reason why they are fated mates but like could not be together. I bought into that. I enjoyed that. I do wish that like we got to see more in this world, but I understand why we're just leaving it at this. But I did like it, but it wasn't like my favorite thing ever. I'll probably reread this in the future though. I'll be honest. It's like not a 5-star, just a 4-star, but I'd probably reread the series in the future because like they're just fun. They're just easy. They're good time. I like the characters. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. So, Eliza's pick for Trick or Treat was City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. And if you saw my November TBR on my spinner wheel of 60 books that I'm trying to read before the year ends, we'll see if that's possible. But on that list was the sequel to City of Gods and Monsters, City of Sinner and Souls. So I guess I'm going to continue and I'm going to read it soon. But this urban fantasy was interesting. I don't want to keep talking about it, but the ending was frustrating, okay? And the plot, I liked it. I really liked the characters. They kind of reminded me of Mate a little bit because I was reading them at the same time and I could see some connection of like how the characters were similar in some ways. I liked the dynamics. I wish that there was more from the side characters and friends because they kind of felt a little bit one note. Like a friend goes missing. It's a similar setup to Crescent City. So if you love Crescent City, you might like this. But a friend goes missing. That's her focus. We find the friend. Sorry, light spoiler, I guess. We find the friend, and then she's like the most backdrop character you've ever seen. I'm like, well, we went through all the troubles of saving her for this? What do you mean? So I'm hoping she makes more of an appearance in the series as they go on, but I was like, okay. But I like the characters a lot. There was a dog death that did make me cry a whole freaking lot because I was going through it, so you know, that had an impact on me at least. It's memorable enough. It was fun. I think my brain was a little bit too on for it, unfortunately. Like, I think I was being a little bit hypercritical over it. Maybe because Eliza had hyped it up to me so much that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's gonna be my new favorite thing. And then I was like, this? Okay. So that might have just like also been a me problem. But, you know, hey, we'll see how it goes as I continue on in the series. Oh, actually, spoiler to a future video, peeling back the curtain of like being a booktuber, I actually just did my unboxing for the month and I got The Sleepless by Jen Williams, which I read an arc of. So let's talk about it. This is following a young girl and a young boy. It's young adult, and that's my biggest critique of it. Girl, this could have been so good if it was adult. Really upsets me. It could have been so good as an adult book. This gets pitched as romantasy. I would say it's more fantasy with a somewhat romance because of a love triangle, but it's like not really a love triangle at the same time. The romance is underdeveloped, okay? Anyway, we're following Elver. Elver is a young girl who, in the prologue, gets basically sacrificed, and the monster, the god of monsters, saved her, and now she has like poison touch. So she is the like little guardian of this monster forest. Nobody really goes in. She keeps people out. She keeps everybody protected, but she also like, you know, a touch and you'll probably die of her poison. And then we have a young boy who is considered one of the sleepless. His name is Arter, and he is one of the sleepless, which means that at night another being in him comes to life. Altair has been like kept in a monastery and locked away, like they sleep in cells, like they're not allowed freedom. If they like sleep at all, this bad version of them comes out. And they go on adventure together, Altair and Elver and by force, I guess, Lucian, who also is like getting a taste of freedom. But basically, we're on a quest. We're on a journey. We're going to travel. We're going to go city to city. We are trying to stop a lady who has magical powers. The lady who sacrificed Elver, basically. I sadly did not love the beginnings of this. I think the characters were okay. I think that if this was adult, I probably would have liked it more because I really liked The Road of Bones. And that's also like a travel book. But in this, it just didn't quite hit for me in the same way, and I'm really disappointed about it. I really want to love a Jen Williams, but so far it's just not happened. And I wish that this had been aged up a little bit to maybe there should have been more romance, or I just think I needed more plot, because I love a meddling god trope. It is one of my favorite tropes in any book ever. I really love when gods are like at the forefront, when you get to meet them, when they're really impacting and playing with mortals. Like, that is my bread and butter. And so, as much as I loved that in this book, I wanted more. I just wanted so much more. I'm excited for the sequel, and I think conclusion to this duology, if I'm not mistaken. But I wish that what happens at the end happened a little bit sooner, or maybe like this duology was one book. I'm sure there's a reason why it's not, but I feel like the build up to the ending was not as interesting to me as the actual ending itself. So yeah, kind of perplexed by it. I wish that I liked it more, but it just unfortunately like did not fully work for me, and I gave it, I think, 3 stars. The next book, oh boy. The next book that I listened to was The Treasure Hunters Club by Tom Ryan. I would recommend, if you had an interest in reading this, probably don't. I wouldn't recommend it. There's like actual errors in the book, like continuity errors that a lot of people picked up on. I would recommend you go watch the Literally Dead Book Club live show where everybody talks about it. This book felt, unfortunately, pointless in a lot of ways. I will say, the reveal at the end did genuinely shock me and had me like flabbergasted. I was like, no way that just happened. Like, I was impressed by that. I think that was done well. The rest of the book, though, not so much. We were following 3 characters, and I think one of them didn't need to exist, but also I don't really care about the other one being there. Decisions were made, and they were weird. The Treasure Hunter Club doesn't actually make a really big impact on the story whatsoever. I don't know why Cass existed. Like, I gave this 3 initially, and then the more that we talked about it during the book club, I was like, no, I do think that's a 2-star book. Like, I do think that's a bad book. Like, no, I don't think it was that great. There was a few things that you're like, cool, but like, I really thought this was going to be the Goonies, and it's not even at all a similar story whatsoever. So like, it's kind of just disappointing, kind of just not great. Moving on, though, we have Undercover by Tamsin Muir, and this is an Amazon original in the Into Shadows collection, I believe, which is the same collection that Six Deaths of the Saint is in. I also read What the Dead Know by Nevo, because I've enjoyed Nevo in the past, so I said, whilst I'm here, I might as well. These were initially going to be in my hardest reading challenge you'll ever do creature feature video for Halloween, but time constraints, I was like, girl, there ain't gonna be no way you do all of this and the finale. So I just focused on the finale, and I missed a day, but I technically still had like 31 or 32 uploads, so I did not fail Booktober. You cannot tell me I did. But anyway, I was going to do like the 7 types of creatures all in one video, and I was doing these for the ghost prompt. Initially, Undercover was it, but then I was like, that was like a ghoul, not quite a ghost, and so I picked up What the Dead Know, and I liked it much more. Basically, Undercover is like a detective going undercover to a like crime mob gang situation, and is like pretending to be the handler for this ghoul, and you get a fun little reveal at the end. I think it is a full, complete story, which is nice. I think that it set out what it aimed to do. I think it did good on that. I just was not that interested in it overall. It was just like fine to me. But then What the Dead Knows is a seance story, which I really freaking love a seance in a book. It's just, I eat it up every time. Really was giving like easier to understand, very quick 30-page version of The Death of Jane Lawrence in some sense. And I was like, oh, okay. It was good. It was better. I liked the journey we went on. But these are so short, though, I don't really want to explain too much. And for the fairy prompt, oh my god, guys, I picked up, finally, Fated to Fall by A.K. Caggiano. Guys, she's my girl. A.K., she is my girl. Like, she knows how to write the perfect, humorous, cozy romances for me. Like, they're not that cozy because they're still high stake, there's a lot going on, but god, I love the characters so much. I think it was the same narrators that narrate for the Sword in the Dark series, which is one of my favorite series of this year. I just got my trophy book of it. A little disappointed about it, but like, it's fine. She is a trophy book. She's just there for me to hold up. I really liked Fated to Fall. This apparently was a novella in a collection with other authors, but she recently released it to the public just for everybody to read, and she's like hinted that she wants to continue writing books in the series with other characters, and I'm really freaking hoping for that because it's just a perfect little autumnal romantasy. Like, it's just so cute and silly. It's the classic setup of a girl in a village gets sacrificed to the Fae and has to marry them for, like, you know, success or whatever. And she's like, bet. Okay, sure, let's do it. And she stabs him upon meeting and it bonds them together. And now they have to figure out how to, one, break the bond, but also he's got bigger plans to basically conceive an archfey, and that might destroy the world, but that's his big arching plan. And her having to marry him is causing an issue for that. And so they're trying to figure out a way to disconnect the bond that they have with each other, but also trying to go along with everybody thinking they're going to get married because that's going to help the plan. You know, you get it. Scheming is afoot. I just really liked it. I really liked it a lot. It was very fun, very cozy. But, like, not cozy in the sense of, like, there's not high stake and there's not a lot going on. But I just love the description. I love the characters. It's just, she is a cozy for me author just because I love her writing. So, yeah, okay. I listened to another Nell pick, which was The Reformatory by Tarana Reeve Dew, and I like this a lot. I recommend it. It's a really good horror novel. I think it does all of the things. It's horrific. It's commenting on society. It's telling you history. Like, there's just so much packed into it. My biggest issue was I did not care so much for Gloria's perspectives. Gloria being the older sister, who's kind of the reason that Robert got sent to the reform school. She is trying to rescue him and look out for him and get him back. I like having hope in a book, but Robert, who can see ghosts at this school, working for the really bad man who's in charge, that was so fascinating. That was just an interesting story. Obviously, his experiences are heartbreaking and really sad to see, but at the same time, like, I loved Robert. I liked him so much. He was so fun to be with. I really got a kick out of, like, what he was doing, and I just enjoyed him. As scary as, like, a situation it all was, I'm happy with the way that it ended. Like, it all was done exactly how it should have been. Like, I have no notes. It was, like, objectively such a good book. I have no notes, but I just didn't love Gloria's perspective quite as much. So it wasn't like the most favorite thing for me, but I was still a very good, high rated 4 stars. And then I listened to Lexi's Trick or Treat pick, which was The Last Session by Julia Bartz, author of The Writing Retreat, which was a 5-star favorite mystery horror thriller thing for me. I love Julia Bartz, and this was not quite the writing retreat, but I also didn't hate it, but also I need to set your expectations for it. So definitely watch my reading log for it if you want, like, more, but this one gets absurd, this one gets wacky, and you need to get ready to be a little bit confused and not hate repetition and just be along for the ride. We're following a girl. She works at a mental facility, and a patient comes in who looks a whole lot like her, and they might just, like, you know, that celebrity twin. She's famous. She kind of has amnesia. She's not really talking, but she has this kind of relationship to the main character, and she's like, help. Like, let's be pals. Let's talk about things. Like, The celebrity gets discharged, goes off to her friends, and our main character, whose life is just, you know, falling apart of change around her, and she's like, I don't have control over anything anymore. So what does she do? She signs up for a cult-like retreat to see if she can find answers about this missing girl. It is wacky and absurd from the beginning, but I actually I like the characters. I like I liked it, but the ending does fall a little bit flat in comparison. Like, I do think that we could have I don't know. I don't know how you would fix it. I don't know what you would change, but like something about it just didn't quite land as hard for me. But it was like still good. I still gave it 3.5. The next book was also meant to be for that creature feature reading the dog, and this is Blood Moon by Brittany S. Lewis, and this was maybe the biggest hate read I've had all year. I did not really want to continue. I did not want to finish this. I only did because I was buddy reading with Eliza and I thought it was for a video. This was bad. This is meant to be I think it's still considered young adult, but we're meant to be following college students and there's like a homecoming dance. Or the way that we like talk about school just felt a little bit too high school for me. Like it didn't feel like the appropriate age. Our characters didn't feel the appropriate age. And that was really taking me out of the story. This wanted to be Twilight so bad. And I love Twilight with my whole heart. Those movies, the franchise, it's my favorite thing. I cannot wait to read the books. It's one of those things where I'm like, it has to be the perfect time. And so you just don't ever read them because I don't want to ruin anything. There were so many similarities in this that there were like direct scenes almost. And Eliza and I were having a blast screaming like quotes and moments about the actual Twilight series at each other when they came up in this book. But at the same time, this wasn't good. I don't think it was well written. I don't like the characters whatsoever. Like nothing about them was interesting. The mystery at its heart was so poorly cared for. I was just kind of mad about it. So much about this did not work. I don't necessarily recommend it. I think if I had read this in middle school or high school and I thought high school and college were going to be the exact same and nothing was going to change, I probably would have liked this more. If I did not have the same nostalgic ties to Twilight, maybe I would have liked this more. If I wasn't making those comparisons constantly, I can see a younger audience getting more out of this than I would, but I don't recommend this to my fellow adults, okay? I don't. I don't think it's for us. So for my trick-or-treat finale, I read Cuckoo by Gretchen Falcon Martin, which I spelled wrong in my spreadsheet. How embarrassing. I don't know how to talk about this one. I talk about it more in depth in the video, so like if you're interested, but this is a horror book following teens at a conversion camp, but then we get to see them as they grow up and return, and there's this monster called the Cuckoo, and it's just kind of weird. I think the pacing is what really hindered my enjoyment for this book, because the first 75% is them as teens at the camp, and the last 25 is them as an adults returning and like the action and everything. And by 70% of the book, I was so beyond checked out. I did not care about the characters. I wasn't able to get into like their psyche as much, and like sometimes the characters felt like they knew more than they should have because it's a limited third person, so like they weren't supposed to know everything. It's not an omniscient narration, so they shouldn't have known all the things that they knew at times, and I was like, you wouldn't know that, but okay, whatever. There was just like a few things that really didn't work for me, but I think the biggest being just the pacing. So yeah, that one, unfortunately, not my favorite. Next one was a favorite, though. This was another Eliza recommendation. This is A Song of Shadows and Starlight, and this became one of my favorite books of the entire year. I love this so freaking dearly. I got such strong Tangled Rapunzel vibes from this, just to find out whilst working on I've been doing this thing for my 5 stars. Whilst working on this, though, I learned that this is a Rapunzel retelling, and I was like, girl, I got you. I see you. It's not direct. She doesn't have like long glowing hair or anything. Like it's not that similar, but there was just something about it that I was like, it's kind of giving. And I think she nailed the vibes of it so well. This is following Shay, who is the heir to the Dorian throne. We start this book. She's planning to get married to her childhood best friend. They are in love. They're having a great time. Their wedding is tomorrow. And the night before, Shay overhears a plot for somebody to die. And she goes, oh no, not my parents. Worried and concerned, she thinks that her parents are about to get assassinated. She runs out into the hall to come across these 3 assassins who wanted to actually kill her fiance. But then they can't get him because he's not in his room where he's supposed to be, so they take her instead. And then kidnapping happens, and she's obviously, smart and bright. She's trying to escape. She asks all the right questions. She knows the circumstances that she's in. She knows what needs to get done. I appreciated her so much as a main character. Like, A City of Gods and Monsters, another Eliza pick. So stupid. She's one of the dumbest main characters I've ever had to read, and she really made me very mad. So smart. She asked the right questions, even when she didn't have all the answers or understanding. She knew she meant something. She knew she was a chosen one. She understood that something was going on with her specifically, and I really, really enjoyed that. She is royalty, but she actually has a hidden identity that's not tied to her royalty. And so if you're participating in Covers with Cassidy's romantasy bingo, this might work for that, because she's not hiding her royalty in any way. She's very much a princess, but she is hiding something else. And so that would work for the hidden identity. I would argue hard mode. So anyways, I really like this. It is kind of a travel book. Like, we are going towards the destination, which is basically the assassin's homeland. But the journey there was so magical to me. I really loved seeing the different cultures of the different kingdoms and how everybody was different and interacted. I love how high fantasy it was. We've got dwarves, we got sea elves, we've got normal elves, we've got trolls, we've got so many magical creatures just existing with each other. I loved it. I loved the banter so much. This book had me giggling and kicking my feet, and I know I've talked about it so much already in that video, but like, I just need to sing its high praise so much. I loved this, and I cannot wait to continue on to A Ballad of Beasts and Brothers, and then whenever the next books come out. I'm so excited. I really want to read more from this author and their backlist. This was everything to me. Oh my goodness. After that, I listened to my Kirsten Trick or Treat, which was just Sorcery of Thorns. I have it somewhere. Did I not? Did I put it back? No. Oh, it's right in front of me. I'm so dumb. It doesn't have like a dust jacket, so I always mistake it for anything else. So I read Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. And I think wrong time for this book. I think I will revisit this in the future. I'm interested in continuing to the novella. I think that this has hope of getting a higher than 3-star, 3.5 rating from me in the future. I think I just was like really wanting like romantasy, like the most romantasy you could get. And this wasn't quite that. This was a little bit more fantasy leaning. We are following a girl who has to save the world and team up with a reluctant ally. And I did like a lot of the vibes and atmosphere and characters. It didn't hit quite as hard for me as I was hoping. And it might have just been something that I should have picked up much, much sooner, but also I think it was just maybe the wrong time. So I'm not giving up on this book. I do think I'm going to revisit it in the future and like physically read it, because that can sometimes, enhance my reading when I'm like really invested in it. But I think the audiobook experience alone just like wasn't quite doing it for me. This tower is getting so scary. Okay, but the next book I need to scream about, okay? Air Awakens, which was a recommendation from Princess, technically, kind of. It was the initial treat that I was given, but then it got switched at one point, but I still put it in the jar because I wanted to read it. So Air Awakens by Elise Kova is the first book in a 5-book series of the Air Awakens. It's going to work perfect if you are participating in the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. It's perfect for the Avatar prompts because you've got alliteration across the books, and then you've got air, fire, earth, water, and then void. So you've got the 4 elements in the title, a focus of the book, like very prominent to what's going on. Like the magic system is obviously full focus. So it's perfect for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. So high recommendation. Oh my god. So I have finished Fire Falling by the time you guys are seeing this video, and I was up until like 3 a.m. finishing it. I could not sleep one night, and so I was like, fine, I'll just go read on the couch. I was crying through basically the entire second book. So many emotional beats. I was so invested. I love these characters truly so much. It was a slow start getting into the first book, Air Awakens. I like the first 100 or so pages, I was like, yeah, it's okay. I really thought it was going to be similar to Sorcery of Thorns, so I was like a little bit jaded towards it. It was also third person, which Song of Shadow and Starlight is first person, which I typically prefer. So I was like, oh no, I was getting scared about it. And then something just like switched and I went, oh my god. I think what it happens is basically our main character Vala finds out she has magic. And she has a kind of a tragic awakening to this knowledge, but she also has like a secret pen pal with the Phantom, and she's meeting with the prince, and like there's just so many juicy little tidbits and nuggets that you get along the way. But she is learning that she is magic, and she not only has magic, she has air magic, which hasn't been seen in the last 150 years. So obviously she's very important, and this magic is important to keep secret, but also like around. And so she's like, I don't know if I really want to join the magical tower. Like, I understand my position and like what this means, but at the same time, I've been taught that sorcery is bad this whole time, so I don't know if I really want to get involved. I might eradicate this magic and like, just keep being a library apprentice. And they're like, no, please don't do that. And oh my god, an event happens. Give me until the festival to make my decision on whether or not I want to be a full sorcerer or not. And the climax of the book. Elise knows how to write a cliffhanger, write an ending. Oh my goodness grief. These endings destroy me every single time. The ending of Fire Falling. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm losing it. So I really liked the way that it ended. The last 100 or so pages was pure heartache for me. I felt so strongly and I cared so deeply for Vala in those moments. There's just something to be said about like the way older fantasy was written. It's a very much romantasy series. Like it's young adult, but it is, the second book especially is like very romance focused. Like they are very destined to be around each other. Like I love it. But there's just something to be said about the way that a third person story can make me care so deeply in the way that these books do, which I don't find in recently published books quite as much. Third person often feels very like far away, out of touch, like arms distant from me. But the way that Elise Kova makes me care for this world and have the heartache of like following these characters, it is still like a limited perspective, but man, does it just feel different from some of the other things that I've read more recently that are published more recently. Like it just hits so hard and I recommend it so freaking strongly. So I'm on the third book now. I don't know when I'm going to start. I'm trying to like kind of pace myself. This will work really well in December as well for Buzzwordathon alliteration. So if you're looking for things, there's some recs. Let's talk about the last 3 books. So we've got Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. This was also in the finale along with the next book we'll talk about. So I won't go too in depth. I do think I need to go rest my voice for a little while. So this is a heist book, but for dragons. And we've got, I can't in good faith call this reluctant allies to lovers. It's not, they're just allies. Like it does not take a lot of convincing for them to come together, but we are following very morally gray, almost borderline villains, if you ask me, who come together to try and rescue some dragons. We are following the lost princess, and she says she wants her dragons back from her evil uncle or father. I think it's her father. And she's like, I'm gonna get my dragons back if it's the last thing I ever do. And a lot, you know, we get the heist at the end, so it's a lot like building up and leading up to it. We got a lot of found family, a lot of like detective work. I really did enjoy this more than I knew I was going to enjoy this, but it was different from what I was expecting. I don't normally like a heist book, and so I was nervous about it, but this one really worked for me. It was not at all what I was expecting when I think of heist. So it actually worked out rather well. And the next book I want to talk about is Anathema. Carrie Lake, please, for the love of me, tell me when we are getting an audiobook for Eldritch. It's driving me absolutely balls. I just want to read it. I just want to read Eldritch so bad, and there's no audiobook, and it's like, obviously, it's a duet. It's like double I'm losing it. It's dual narration. I love them so much, and I want to hear them. Where is it? There's a no peep of the audiobook. It's supposed to come out the same day as the ebook, and it's not. I can't stop thinking about this book. I initially gave it 4 stars. It's still sitting around 4 stars, but man, oh man, does this book have a chokehold on me. I cannot stop thinking about it. I really enjoyed the vibes. Again, another book with a slow start, but it just really does so much by the end that I was like, okay. Yeah, so I'm very impacted by this book. I really love the balls and festivals that were happening in all of these romantasy books. Like, I just love it so much. Yeah, I love having a sister character who is just like full of mischief and trying to like low-key sabotage because she's immortal and she just doesn't understand, and she's like, I just want to have fun. Like, I don't know what all the problem is. I loved her so much. I think her name is like, I get her, and it's like Raylia or something, but I also am getting it confused with Alicia, which is the sister. So my bad. But God, this book has really stuck with me, and I'm really excited to continue in the series. I mentioned briefly that I might do a plot recap for Anathema, so if you're interested in that, let me know. I've got one person who said yes, and that's usually enough for me to commit to a thing. But there's another book that I'm also planning on doing fairly soon, as well as The Light Lark. So we'll see. It might be a little while since we don't have word on the third book yet either. Anywho, I really like this. I'm so glad that I read it. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, libraries, for not having the twisted ones available for me in the right timeline, because truly could not ask for a better way to read for my finale. It was just so wonderful. The final thing I want to talk about is my last book, which was Zombie Bake Off by Stephen Graham Jones. I don't think I'm going to keep reading old Stephen Graham Jones. I don't think they're for me. They more often than not don't work out. This one is fine. I don't have strong feelings towards it. I don't have preference towards it. I don't really care about it. Imagine a town having a baking competition, if you will, with a woman who can taste the secret ingredients in it, and then somehow wrestlers join the fray and a batch of bad donuts, and now we have zombies and we have to fight them. It's a little bit wacky. It's a little bit silly. It's not my favorite Stephen Graham Jones, that's for sure. I don't not recommend it, but I also don't recommend it, but it works well for the creature feature zombie prompt. I really struggled. There's not a lot of zombie books that I'm interested in, and this one shouldn't have been it. I should have stuck with my initial zombie book, which would have been The Bones House, but I wanted to slot that into a different reading vlog, so unfortunately, I done goofed myself for that one. But yeah, those are all the things that I read. My goodness. That was a lot. I think I went a little bit more in depth on my Booktober books than I should have or meant to, so sorry about that, but thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you made it to the end of this video, you can leave me a dragon emoji down in the comments, not the description. I really gotta go. Thank you for watching. Nice to see you. See you next time. Bye. Okay, I gotta go.